Let's talk about Harley-Davidson Pan America. It's Harley-Davidson's first adventure touring bike, and it's a great bike. So this is the Harley-Davidson Pan America Special with Screaming Eagle exhaust.
However, one thing has to be said. This is not a full-on, in-detail review.
Because I only rode it for like 300 kilometers. Metric, yay. But I can tell you this much. BMW has a problem. First, the Pan America is something that has not existed so far. There is nothing in Harley stable that looks quite like it, or that harkens back to it. It's not like a, I don't know, a Sportster that is like in its 50th edition. Dead now, rest in peace, mate. Apparently, Harley-Davidson, so goes the marketing myth, did not use external talent for this bike. So they did not go to BMW or KTM and poach some talent. No, they all did it in-house. I've spoken to some of the engineers and designers that were involved in the project, and some of them have been at Harley-Davidson for 20 years. So, you know, that's pretty damn cool. And you can really tell that this is a different sort of bike because it is, unlike most Harley-Davidsons, really high-tech. Like there's adaptive rider height, there's a rear brake that actually does something. Like on my Sportster, the rear brake is basically, yeah, you've got a rear brake because the law requires it, but it actually doesn't do anything. It either doesn't do anything or it locks the wheel. And here you have brakes by Brembo with ABS and everything, and variable ABS also. It's amazing, it's incredible. Again, with the marketing speak, Harley-Davidson says one thing, or keeps claiming one thing that really hurts the Pan America, I think, and that's, and I think I quote here, off-roading has always been part of the DNA of Harley-Davidson. Okay, it sounds really good, but we all know it's not true. Everybody who's seen a Harley-Davidson and looked at one goes like, maybe not. Just go like, we did a new thing, it goes off-road, cool. Harley-Davidson is allowed, should be allowed, and must reinvent themselves. And I think they did. Of course, you recognize some elements of the bike. I mean, there's the logo on the side, obviously. There's the shape of the engine and kind of goes like this. And there's like the light that looks very much like a Fat Bob. And that is deliberate. Like, it should not seem alien or strange to you, but like just enough familiar elements that you can go like, yeah, this is a Harley-Davidson. Oh, by the way, whoever had the idea for the logo to go from the tank onto the fairing should get like a medal, or at very least a coffee or a handshake, because that is genius. It looks so good. One piece of criticism I keep hearing repeatedly is like the engine looks like a toy engine because it's all covered and it's not as brutalistically raw as it used to be. And that's for a good reason, because the Revolution Max engine is something completely new. Now, there is a great video somewhere out there, and I hope Harley-Davidson publishes it, where the engineers who actually built it explain what it is with a whole lot of 3-letter and 4-letter abbreviations. I mean, I watched this video for like 15 minutes, and at the end I was like, yeah, everything's a bit stabilized. If Harley-Davidson does not do an in-depth spotlight on the Revolution Max engine, then I will. The engine is the heart of the bike, so the entire bike was built around the engine. By that I mean that the engine itself is load bearing, so that makes it superfluous to build a frame around the engine, then mount said frame into the bike's frame. While the engine is now heavier, the engine itself saves weight in the grander scheme of things. The bike is, in its special edition, is about 250 kilos. She feels a lot lighter than that. By the way, if I mention numbers in this, be aware that the promotional material I've received ahead of the launch has different numbers. It's not like they say it's a 1250 engine, but it's like sometimes it's 1252. And I think I read 1249 at one point. But on the side of the bike it says 1250, so I'm going to go with that number. Same goes for torque. It claims to have 127 Newton meters of torque at 6,750 RPM. I've read different values for that one, but that's the one that everybody mentioned at the event, so I'm going to go with that. Seat position is something that's quite crucial to any riding experience, because if you don't sit comfortably, you don't have a good ride. The adaptive rider height system is one thing, like it goes down as you slow down. However, there's also the saddle itself. If you take the tank key, you can go and unlock the saddle from the bottom and then put it further down. So at the very lowest, the height of the saddle is 80 centimeters, and because it's got a very narrow frame, even shorter riders can, you know, safely get their feet down and have a good stand on any kind of terrain. Unless you're really short, in which case probably not. I have ridden the bike off-road and on-road. Surprisingly enough, it is indeed possible to jump this heavy bike. I jumped her. It was great. It was also a bit scary. But the thing with this bike is the second you sit on it and you kind of, you know, you make your way down the quarry and you sort of do your first little bit of on gravel, the figure eights and all that stuff, because you need to do a parkour so that just that the instructors were sure that you're not going to kill yourself doing it. You immediately feel very safe on this bike. It is a very friendly bike with a lot of power. The Michelin Anarchies, they hold on gravel, they hold on water, they hold on mud, they hold on dirt, they hold on steep inclines made of gravel. It is very impressive. Like, these are really good tires, and these were new tires. Like, they had not been broken in. Like, I felt immediately safe at home on the bike, and I was most impressed by the fact that even going very, very slow, so like 2 kilometers an hour or something, you still felt stable on the bike itself. So because the center of gravity, due to the fact that the engine is load bearing and constructed in a way that makes the center of gravity so very low, you can just basically stand on the bike while it's standing still and not on a kickstand. It's very impressive. I was I was quite amazed by this, to be perfectly honest. Oh, hello. Yes, Herman, be good. The one time this cat is social. Herman, we're shooting video here. We're talking about a motorcycle. Do you want to talk? Do you have anything to add to this motorcycle? No, didn't think so, did I? Motorcycle goes vroom, yeah, that's when I make a lot of noise. There's like 5 minutes of raw footage of me just holding this cat like this and giving her a belly rub. Also, the side profile of the bike is very thin, so you can stand on it and you can still, you know, put your thighs into the tank and just like get a safe hold on it, and you can swivel your hips and stuff. It's just so great to maneuver. While riding off-road, there's 4 modes that are relevant to your experience, and they're basically a spectrum. There's off-road mode, which has all the electronic gadgets enabled that will get you safely through all terrain. There's off-road mode plus, which kind of disables some of the electronic gadgets, but still fairly safe. There's off-road mode pro, which will disable some more of the gadgets, and off-road mode pro plus, also known as all hell breaks loose mode, which will basically give you all 150 horsepower and all the torque and all of the everything in your hand, which is great. You should try this. Luckily, this bike was made to be laid on her side, so, you know, good stuff. Don't worry about a thing. Also, she really looks better when dirty, and, you know, a few scratches. Am I allowed to say that a few scratches are really nice on a bike? So I recommend, when you get the chance to test drive it and they have an off-road track, put on all your safety gear and have a go. On the road, however, you really get to feel the Revolution Max engine. This is where I have concluded that the Revolution Max engine has some places to go, because I really want to see this engine in any other bike. I want to see it in kind of a Sportster-like bike, and rumor has it that the announced or unannounced something 1250cc custom bike that's coming out will have the same engine. On the picture, the one picture that exists, it kind of looks like it, but no confirmation has been given. The German Autobahn, in case somebody doesn't know this, is the one road on the planet that does not have a speed limit, so you can just blast along. The computer of the Pan America goes like at 227 kilometers an hour, just goes like, no, we're not doing this anymore. This is the max speed we're going to go. I put her up to 225. I did not notice I was going really, really insanely fast until I hit like 190. Because it felt so stable and so amazing. My heart rate went up when I looked at the speedometer and was like, oh my God, I'm nearing 200, and there's like a wide open road ahead of me. So I just blasted down there. 225 felt amazing, amazingly stable, amazingly safe. I would not have gone that far if I had any doubt that my safety was going to be compromised. It was so good. Honestly, fantastic bike. This is where I also noticed that like there's more riding modes than just the off-road ones, but also there's sport mode, which is made to just go fast and, you know, suspension hard and blah, 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 everything. And there's also country road mode, or just road mode. Road mode is really great for twisties and turns and these tight little turns, because like the suspension goes into the turn itself. It's, oh boy, so good. Really, it's really so good. And there's always massive power. Yeah, the one thing, now here we are at the one thing that kind of annoyed me. Now, I do have somewhat shorter thumbs, apparently, than a regular human being. However, I did feel that the controls were a bit too far to the inside, especially the indicator lights. I occasionally just hit the horn because it's right next to it. And the mode button to change drive modes, you can change drive modes while riding, but the button is located in a way that you need to take your hand off the gas, really, because it's like right on top of your right hand, so kind of like here, so your hand would need to be able to kind of do this motion, but you can't, so you need to let go and push the button repeatedly. Also, it doesn't have a quick shift. Why? All in all, this bike is a very mature first iteration of a product. It feels very finished, it feels very solid, it feels very good. It feels like I want to buy it, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, a bit expensive right now because I just bought a motorcycle. Oopsie, my mistake. I regret now.